Hi, I'm Hinquin42, aka Taylor, and like last week, I promised I was going to do a One Tree Hill video, and so here it goes. I'm going to be talking about One Tree Hill in this video, and before I start talking about it, I want you guys to go, and I'm going to remind you this at the end of the stream, to go to my page, go to my channel. After the stream is over, go to my channel, go to the discussion, and you'll see to the 30th for both Monday and Friday videos of what the schedule is going to be, what I'm going to be talking about. So maybe like you guys can start like thinking about it, thinking about the topics and stuff. So next week I'm going to talk about the Girl Scout murders. So yay! Well, not yay. It's sad. Sad what happened to him. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about One Tree Hill. One Tree Hill is my favorite show of all time. I own all 9 seasons. I started getting into the show because of my sister. My sister had like the first 4 seasons on DVD when the 5th season was on the air, and I started watching it with my sister around the 3rd season when my sister was watching the 3rd season on DVD, and it was me and my sister and my mom. We were watching it, and that's how I got into it. But it wasn't until like the end of season 5 that I truly got into it, and I truly got invested into the show. And ever since then, I've been a fan of the show, and I love the show so much. And so to tell you what the show is about, if you've never seen the show, then what do you do with your life? Go on to Netflix. It's on Netflix. You can watch it, and you'll be amazed at how awesome it is and how amazing it is. But it's hard to explain the show because, like, when I start trying to analyze what the show is about, I'm like, well, the stuff that the show is about doesn't happen in the later seasons. In the later seasons, that's not the plot. The plot changes in later seasons. So what is the show about? So I'm just going to give you like an overview kind of what the show's about. It's about 2 half brothers who play basketball for their high school basketball team, the Tree Hill Ravens, and they one brother comes from a rich family. One brother comes from a rich family, and the other one comes from kind of like a middle class family. And they both share the same dad, but they have different moms. And the one dad, the dad cares more about the one brother cares more about his one son more than the other son, and it's just showing like their lives, and it's amazing. Like that overview, that plot seemed kind of boring, but it's not. It's not. The show is so amazing. You have to watch it. So right here, I have like 2 sheets of paper, front and back. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh, it's upside down. It'd be great if it wasn't upside down, but front and back. I decided to write this down because I knew I was going to leave out some things, and I ended up leaving out some things in like the character department. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to be talking about characters, my favorite couples, themes, music, and like the legacy. So without further ado, here I go. And I'm not going to talk about every single character on the show because we would be here forever if I did. And so I'm going to talk about like the ones that you should know. There are a couple on there that like I shouldn't have put on there, but I decided to because you kind of do need to know about them, but they're not like that super important. So without further ado, here it goes. And I have like a short description of each one of them. So first one is Lucas Scott. Lucas Scott is the son of a single mother who loves books and basketball, and he's the half older brother of Nathan Scott. And I love Lucas. Lucas is one of my favorite characters. He may seem like a little arrogant and may seem like a bad person throughout the show. If you've watched it, you might think that, but he's not really that bad of a character. There are characters a lot worse than him. Next one is Nathan Scott. Nathan Scott is a basketball player who's trying to impress his dad and make him proud. And he's the half younger brother of Lucas Scott. Then you have Haley James Scott. She is if I could describe her in 2 words, it would have to be Tutor Girl. They mentioned that on the show. They call her Tutor Girl a lot of times on the show because she's a smart, smart high school student with straight A's who tutors people. She earns money for tutoring people at the school, and she's also Lucas's best friend. And then you also have Peyton Sawyer. She's a cheerleader with a tough life that loves art and music. She is, when I say she's had a tough life, I mean she's had a tough life. If you've ever seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. If anyone can get through what she's gone through, then you can get through anything. Because she's gone through so much in her life, and she's still here. She survived all of it, which is an amazing feat. Then you have Brooke Davis. She's a cheerleader who loves sex and has rich parents who don't care about her. And she's later seasons, she's a fashion designer. And she's also Peyton's best friend. Her and Peyton are best friends too. So yeah. And then you have Skills. Skills is optimistic basketball player. He always sees the good in everything, and he's always lifting the team up when they need lifting up, and he's always there for you when you need him. He's just that's a cool friend that you have. That cool friend that you have that you're willing that's always there for you, and that will give you the most ridiculous pieces of advice, but you still love them. Also, his real name is Marvin McFadden, but they call him Mouth. And here's the reason why: because he's a sports commentator because he can't play sports. It's not that he can't play sports; it's just that he's not great at sports. But he loves sports. He also has bad luck with women. Women always come to him, but then they always leave him. So he's got this bad streak with women. Yeah. Then you have Karen Rowe. She's a single mother of Lucas who owns Karen's Cafe. She's just trying to make a living and provide for her son. And she's also the character that she's that loving mother that you can always go and talk to her about anything. You can talk to her about anything, and she'll be there for you no matter what. Then you have Dan Scott. He's the father of Lucas and Nathan, who only cares about Nathan. That's all he cares about. He could care less about Lucas. I mean, he tries to care about him in later seasons, but it doesn't really work out. And he's also evil as well. He starts getting evil in later seasons. He becomes evil. I mean, he's evil in the first couple of seasons, but not nearly as evil as he is in later seasons. He's definitely a lot of people's least favorite characters. What a lot of fans' least favorite character. He's one of my least favorite characters. I hated Dan so much. Then you have Deb Scott. She's the mother of Nathan, who loves pain pills. She's addicted to pain pills. She's addicted to pain pills. I mean, what else is there to say about her? Then you have Keith Scott, who's the uncle of Lucas and Nathan, who owns a auto repair shop, and also loves basketball, but is terrible at it. There's an episode, I don't remember the name of the episode, but he he literally shows him and his employees taking a break. They're taking a quick break and they're playing basketball. They have like this basketball goal, basketball hoop or whatnot, out at the shop. At the shop, they have this basketball goal. They have a basketball, and they were taking a break and to do a layup, and he can't even do a layup. He can't even do a layup, and that's how bad of a basketball player he is. But he still loves basketball, and he recognizes greatness. He can recognize greatness when it comes to basketball. Sorry, that was an airplane going by. I live by an airport, so yeah. Then you have Victoria Davis. She's Brooke's mom. She's Brooke's mom who doesn't care about Brooke except for her clothing line. Brooke has her own clothing line, and that's the only thing that Victoria cares about. Like Brooke hates her mom so much to the point where she'll call her mom either mother, she'll call her mom mother sometimes, but most of the time she calls her Victoria, especially around her friends. She'll call her Victoria. And Victoria has even said so in an episode, in one of the episodes. She mentions how she never wanted Brooke. She never wanted Brooke. She just got pregnant with Brooke, and she had to put her career, put her dreams on hold for Brooke, and she never wanted kids, but she only kept Brooke because she only kept Brooke in order for her husband. She thought like maybe Brooke's dad would stay around. Hopefully he would stay around because of Brooke. And that's the only reason why she kept Brooke, was so Brooke's dad would stay around. Then you have Chase Adams. He's a guy that no one seems to remember on the show except for the main cast. Like Haley, Nathan, Lucas, Brooke, Peyton, all of them, Skills and Mouth, they all remember Chase. They all remember Chase, but like the lesser known kind of characters that were like supporting cast members don't really remember Chase, and he's always having to say, like, they're always saying like, "Who are you?" And he always has to say like, "I'm Chase. I'm the bartender at Trick. Trick is the bar that Karen and Keith started. Like they opened up their own bar together, and yeah, so he's a bartender at Trick, and he's like, he always has to tell him like, "Hey, I'm the bartender at Trick." He's like, and they're always like, "Don't remember, still don't know you," or "Don't care." That's always their mantra. Then you have Jamie Scott. He's the son of Haley and Nathan, and that's all I want to say about him, because if I say any more about it, I'm going to give away too much, and I don't want to give away too much. I just want you guys to watch the show. Then you have Alex Dupre. She's a model, actress, and singer, and that's all there really is to say about her. And then you have Julian Baker. He's a film director. He does a lot of directing, and what else is there to say about him? Then you have Clay Evans. He's Nathan's agent and best friend, and he's also a widower. He lost his wife Sarah to cancer. Then you have Quinn James. She's one of Haley's older sisters, who's a photographer. Haley has 3 sisters and 3 brothers. Big household. And by the way, little known fact, a lot of people that don't watch the show, if you're a huge Huey Lewis fan, huge Huey Lewis in the News fan, you should know that Huey Lewis is Haley's. Huey Lewis plays Haley's dad on the show, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I saw like clips of Huey Lewis on the show. Like this was like set to music, and I was like, "What? That's Huey Lewis?" Like Huey Lewis was on the show, and I tried looking for it on YouTube, could never find it. This was before I got like the complete series. This was before I had the complete series. And I'm like, what? Huey Lewis was on the show? No, you're joking. Huey Lewis doesn't act, and then I found out that he was in Back to the Future. He played one of the judges that was judging the band for the dance to do the dance. So yeah, and then you have and one of we know uh, three of Haley's sisters. We know their names. We don't know her brother's names, but we know that she has a sister named Taylor James, and Taylor James is Haley's other older sister who takes Haley and Quinn's leftover, like Haley and Quinn's leftovers, meaning they're exes. If Haley broke up with a guy, Taylor would be all over that guy like the next week. Same way with Quinn. If Quinn broke up with a guy, Taylor would be all over that guy within a week. And and then she also had another sister named Vivian, but no one really knows who Vivian was. Like, because she never really talked about Vivian, but they knew her name was Vivian. Fans know that her name was Vivian. She was the oldest out of the Jameses, siblings, all the James siblings. Then you have Nanny Carey. She's an evil nanny for Nathan and Haley. I hated Nanny Carey so much. Like, she shouldn't have been on the show to begin with. I hated her so much. Then you have Bevan. Bevan's a clueless cheerleader. That's the best way to describe her. There was like an episode in season 4 when the cheerleaders they're on their way to the basketball game, this huge basketball game that they're having, and they're driving because Coach Whitey, who's the basketball coach, he coached the Ravens for 35 years, and so he was this like very historic coach. They named the gym after him, and yeah, but Coach Whitey wouldn't let him ride on the bus with the basketball players, so they had to drive to the where the basketball game was taking place. Drive to the place where the basketball game was taking place. And when they were driving there, Haley started like they were in like the locker room or whatnot, and they're part of the locker room waiting for the game to start, and they had to go out to the court and go out onto the court in like a few minutes, and they'd go out onto the court while they're trying to get Haley to come and get out of the bathroom. Well, Haley's in the bathroom, like on the floor, clutching her stomach. She's in pain, so they take her to the emergency room. And they're taking forever in the emergency room, and so they chew this nurse out. They finally get a doctor to come in, and when they finally get a doctor to see Haley, they're like, Rachel, who's she's a cheerleader. She's like, best way to describe her is like a slut cheerleader. Like she tries to steal Nathan from Haley and tries to have sex with him. Like she's not my favorite character. And so she calls the lady, like, I believe she calls her like a whore. I'm not entirely, no, she calls her a slut. Peyton calls her a whore. Brooke calls her bitch. Sorry, I don't cuss. And then Bevan doesn't call her anything. Bevan just says thank you. I mean, she's just like this very clueless cheerleader. That, like, it's hilarious, and you kind of wonder, like, how did she graduate high school? Because she's so clueless. Then you have Psycho Derek. He's a guy claiming to be Peyton's half brother who's a stalker. He stalks Peyton, and yeah, it's weird. Then you have Katie. She's an evil doppelganger who plays dead ex-wife. I mean, not dead ex-wife, dead wife Sarah, and she's trying to get with Clay, but yeah, it's weird. Then you have Millie. Millie is Brooke's assistant in season 5, and she wasn't originally. She was only originally supposed to do like maybe like 2 or 3 episodes, but like back because they liked her so much and the fans liked her so much, so they brought her back, and she became a regular on the show. And then I also forgot to write down on this list. I also forgot to write down Chris Keller. I hated Chris Keller so much. Chris Keller was this musician who always talked in the third person. He'd always be like, "Oh, Chris Keller likes you. Chris Keller is amazing. You want to come on to Chris Keller's bus? Oh, Chris Keller wants to have sex with you. Chris Keller has seen more trunk in his bunk." Like, he's always referring to himself in the third person, and it's so annoying. I don't mind when someone refers to themselves in the third person, like every now and then, but not every single time they speak. Like, if you do not refer to yourself in the third person every single time you speak. I'm sorry, Chris. Yeah, and then he tries to get with Haley. Every single time. He even named a guitar after her, but he claimed it was after a porn star. No. Now on to my favorite couples. I'm going to go in descending order to begin with. So, one of my favorite couples, I only have 3 favorite couples. I mean, because I would include Brooke and Julian, but I wasn't a huge fan of theirs. Like, I like that Julian was able to help Brooke and was able to stand by Brooke and still want to be with her even after, like, even with all of her baggage. I do appreciate that, but I just wasn't into them that much. But so I only have 3. No, take back. I have 4. Number 4 is actually I just thought about it. It's not on this list. It's Keith and Karen. I loved Keith and Karen so much. Like, I thought they worked so well together, and that's all I'll say about it, because if I say any more, then I'll be giving spoilers away. But let's just say I wasn't happy about what happened with them. I wasn't happy. A lot of fans weren't happy, but I'm not happy with what happened. That it happened because the show would have been completely different. It wouldn't have been the same, and so I'm kind of glad. So number 3 is Nathan and Haley. They had the longest relationship on the show, and that was one of the reasons why I liked them, because they stayed with each other through everything that they were going through. And they were so cute together. They were really cute together, and they loved each other so much. Like, and they went through a lot together, but they made it through everything. They got through it all together, and they were just really cute together. I really did like them. Number 2 is Clay and Quinn. And a lot of fans are going to get really mad whenever they watch this, if you're watching it now. If not, when you see it after it's been uploaded, you'll be really mad when I say that Clay and Quinn are my second favorite. Your fans are going to be really mad, because they're going to be like, why isn't Nathan and Haley your favorite? Why are they your third favorite? Why aren't they your favorite? Let me tell you why. Clay and Quinn are my second favorite because they're so cute together. They went through so much together. If you saw the season finale of season 7, you were at your TV. I was at my TV yelling at the TV. I was yelling at the TV. I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Like, what if it doesn't get picked up again? What if it doesn't get picked up? Like, now if it doesn't get picked up, now you're having the back of my head, like, I'm gonna be thinking about it. I'm gonna be thinking about it all summer long, and if it doesn't get picked up, I'm gonna continue thinking about it for the rest of my life and what it could have been. But they had been through so much together, and anyone that can go through what they went through together is meant for each other. They also like had so much like they loved each other so much that it was just like he loved her despite some of her flaws that she had, and she loved him despite him being married, like having been married before. She still loved him because she knew what it was like, because she had been married before too, but her husband didn't die, they divorced. Now under my favorite couple. My favorite couple on the show of all time is Peyton and Lucas. I love Peyton and Lucas. I wanted them to get together so badly, and I didn't want them to break up. But I liked them because they had been through so much together. They survived everything, and he helped her get through all of her tough points in her life. When they finally started talking to one another, he helped her get through a lot of tough points in her life. And they each other so much, and it was just, and like you wanted them to get together if you were a Leighton fan. You wanted them to get together so badly, but then like when they would get together, you were so happy, but when they broke up, you were unhappy. It was their relationship was like a roller coaster. One day they're together, 1 minute they're together, next minute they're broken up. Then the next minute they're together, the next minute they're broken up. They had like the on-off relationship that no one really wants to have. Like, because they were stuck in a love triangle. He loved her, Luke loved, uh, uh, but he also loved Brooke. And then in later seasons, like season 5 specifically, he loved her, Brooke, and Lindsay. Lindsay was his publisher, was his editor that he had dated for a little while. And they got engaged, but let's not talk about that. I hated Lindsay too. Now on to themes. Okay, the themes in the show, there were quite a few themes. One of them being sex. There wasn't a whole lot of sex on the show, but there was like quite a bit of sex on the show. It wasn't like Sex in the City. Sex in the City had like was the show had the word sex in it. So what do you think it was about? It was about sex. I mean, One Tree Hill had sex in it, but not every episode had sex in it. But there was quite a bit of sex in the show, but not nothing to where we're like, oh, I can't watch this because I don't like watching sex. Then they talked about bullying, and like basically how they tackled it was like, don't abandon your friends when they need you the most. Like don't do that. Don't do that to your friends. When they need you the most, you gotta be there for them. Don't abandon them. Don't turn around and say, oh, we're still friends. We're still friends. No, you abandoned your friend, and of course they're gonna say you're not friends anymore because you abandoned them. Don't abandon your friends when they need you the most. And then they also talked about shootings, which shootings basically how they talked about was like talking about going back to the whole bullying thing. Getting bullied can make you do bad things. Makes you do bad things like you don't bully someone. Don't bully someone because you don't know what they might do. They might end up killing themselves. They might end up bringing a gun to school. They might do something crazy. So you have to like watch what you say around people. Then they talk about stalking, being like you can't trust anyone. Like it's like don't trust anyone. Then they talk about teen pregnancy, which happens everywhere. I know one person personally. I'm not going to say who it is, but I know one person personally that got pregnant as a teenager. And it was it I'll say that it was an unplanned blessing. I will say it was an unplanned blessing. But they do talk about teen pregnancy because it happens everywhere. Then they talk about car crashes, and like they tell you like pay attention to the road and stop at stoplights. Just because there's no cars coming in the other direction, like west, and you're going like south or something like that, just because someone's not coming from this direction doesn't mean you should keep on going through a stoplight. No. Then they talked about medical problems. So quite a few of the characters had medical problems, and like they basically told you like you have to take your meds at all times. Like even if you feel like you don't need to take your meds, still take your meds because they will help in the long run. Then they talked about teen marriages, which love is love. Doesn't matter how you define it, love is love. Now on to music. So music was a huge, was big on the show, but not like so huge. Like not like wasn't like the main focal point of the show, but there was a lot of music on the show. You had "I Don't Want to Be," and it became a #1 hit a year after its release due to the show, because it was the show's theme song. And I love this song. I love this song so much. It's my second favorite theme song. My second favorite theme song. My favorite has to be Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Has to be Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So, yeah. And then you had Mark Schwahn. Mark Schwahn was the creator of One Tree Hill, and he thought music should be an intricate part of the show, but not like the main focal point. But he would always have like an artist on the show that like to give them like kind of like a jump start to their career, like basically to just basically like give them like kind of like a head start to their career, jump start to their career, like and help them become famous. And yeah. And before I continue, I just want to talk about One Tree Hill, like talk about Mark Schwahn and how he came up with the idea of One Tree Hill. He came up with the idea of One Tree Hill. He was going to make it a movie. He was going to make it into a movie. Well, he got in talks with a couple of people that later became the producers of the show, Joe Davola and a few other people, and they said, why spend like two hours with these characters that you're so passionate about? Why not spend like 22 hours a year or however many hours a year with them? Why not just do that? So it took them like a few years to finally get them to agree to make it into a TV show, and it was the last TV show that WB, because it started on the WB, that WB ever picked up. It was the last pilot that they ever picked up, and WB actually called it the little engine that could, because when the show first aired, no one watched it. Like they had like maybe like 2 people watching it, and like Mark Schwahn even joked that his mom didn't even know that it was on. His mom didn't know that it was on, and a lot of the and like I look back and I think of like shows that came on after One Tree Hill. Like there was a show that came on like quite a few years ago that was all about, that had to do with the show had to do with the movie The Black Swan. It was similar to that, and it was like, and like it was on the CW, and like it didn't even last very long. It didn't even last a whole complete season. It was only on for like maybe like 5 episodes, and then it went off the air. And then Rhett and Link had their own show on CW called Online Nation, where they showed like online videos, and stuff like that, and they like, and that one only lasted for like 2 or 3 episodes, and then it went off the air. It went off the air for good, and like because the ratings were so low. But like when One Tree Hill came out, it's like One Tree Hill. I'm not trying to be mean to One Tree Hill. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but that show should have been canceled. I'm not saying that because I wanted it to be canceled, because my favorite show of all time. Why would I want it to be canceled? I say it should have been canceled because no one was watching the show. No one. It only had like two people watching. Only 2 people were watching the show. Like, and then like fast forward like 100 episodes in, or like 50 episodes in, they get like a huge traction. They get like a bunch of like, well, not 50, about 20 episodes in, they finally get like about 10 to 20 episodes, and they finally get enough traction. They finally get enough people, and actually like Joe Davola was watching TRL, and he was like, he called up Mark and was like, Mark, do you see this? Do you see this? Or our show is on TRL, and you see how many people are showed up for our show. And there was like a whole group of people lined up for our show, and Mark Schwann thought it was like a joke. He thought it was a joke. He literally was he was up like late at night one night. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and he was like still working at the office, and he was checking the ceiling. He was like, "Are there hidden cameras up here? Are there hidden cameras here? Like, you must be joking. Like, gotta be hidden cameras up here. Like, they're joking with us." Nope. And One Tree Hill was always the last show. Like they would always have like a TV guide. They would always say like, announce the shows that were coming back for another season, and One Tree Hill was always that show that was like on that line of like, will it or won't it come back? It was always that line of like will it be picked up? Like, it was always the last show to get picked up for another season, and it was because of the fans that picked it up. And also, One Tree Hill was just this show that like, and also Mark Schwann, he would always do like the season finale. He would always make it like a series finale, so that way, like if it ever did go off the air, if that was its last episode, then it would always end on like a positive note. There wouldn't be anything, except for season 7. Season 7 was the one that did not end like a series finale. And I was super bummed out when it went off the air. I was super bummed out. I was really bummed out when it wasn't a complete nice series, when it wasn't a full nice season, when it wasn't like a 23 episode nice season. It was like maybe like 13 episodes. I'm like, no. It needs to be 20. It needs to be the complete season. Don't give me the half season. Give me the full season. And I wanted it to be 10 seasons because it would have correlated with the show. It would have correlated with the show being on for 10 years. Happened. And actually, they're thinking about coming back, thinking about doing a reboot of it, but not like a TV show, but doing a movie. I'm like, I'm so excited. I hope it happens. Like, they're thinking about it, and I hope it does happen. But I want it to be more like, I don't want it to be like the TV show where it's like sums up all 9 seasons. I don't want it to be like a summary of all 9 seasons. I want it to be a continuation of the last episode of the series. I want it to be a continuation to the series finale. I want to see what happened with the characters, because that's all I want. And I want all the original characters to come back. I want Chad Michael Murray to come back playing Lucas. I want Hillary Burton coming back to play not Brooke, Peyton. I want her to come back to play Peyton. I don't care what you do, just bring back all the original cast. I know you may not be able to get Sophia Bush to come back because she's doing, but just get her back. I don't care. I don't care what you do, just have her come back. Now back onto the whole music thing. I'm sorry I went off on a tangent, but I just had to talk about that. Fall Out Boy. Fall Out Boy has performed on the show several times. I mean, because they're amazing. And Pete Wentz actually dated. He dated Peyton on the show for a little bit, and then they broke up because for reasons for him like being a rock star and like wanting to have like more of a didn't want it's a long story. Then you have Gavin DeGraw. Gavin DeGraw did the theme song, did I Don't Want to Be. He sang I Don't Want to Be. And he's also performed quite a bit on the show, like several times on the show. Because he did the theme song. And he did do a little bit of acting on the show too. So that's pretty awesome. Then they talk about The Cure a lot because that's one of Peyton's favorite bands. Like she talks about The Cure a lot on the show, which I've heard a couple of their songs and I do like them. Then you have to talk about Bethany Joy Lenz. Bethany Joy Lenz played Haley James Scott, who Mark Schwann discovered because he heard Bethany Joy Lenz singing one day on set, and he's like, "She's really good. She's really good. Why don't we make her her character a singer?" So that's what they did. He turned her into a singer, and some of the songs that she's performed on the show she's later released with her best friend or whoever it was, this one lady, and they're called Everly. And so there was a song on the show called Flying Machine, which I like, which she did with Everly. When she was with Everly, she did that song. So it's pretty awesome. Then you have Kate Vogel. Kate Vogel was discovered by Mark Schwann and was on the show a lot because she played Mia Catalone. I think that was her name. Mia Catalano. Mia Catalano. Played Mia Catalano on the show. And the album, which I have, let me see if I have it. Hold on. I actually have it right here. Right here, this album, A Fine Mess. As you can see, I have this album. This album, A Fine Mess, was actually was on the show. This whole album was created on the show. She created this album on the show as Mia Catalano. And they actually, this actual album cover was on the show. This was the actual album cover for Mia Catalano's album, and this was the name of the album as well. And they showed her making that album on the show as Mia, and then she ended up releasing that album as Kate Vogel. And this is the only album I have of hers. My sister has her very first album. And I think it's even awesome, even more amazing. And I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I got into the show because of my sister. My sister was a huge fan of the show, and that's how I got into it. I got into it because of my sister. So thank you, sister. Thank you, Courtney. Now, last but simply not least, I also want to talk about Tyler Hilton. Tyler Hilton played Chris Keller on the show. I forgot to mention this on here, but Tyler Hilton played Chris Keller on the show, and Chris Keller was this musician that was on the show, and he did quite a few songs which he later released. Like he did, him and Bethany Joy Lenz did as Haley James Scott and Chris Keller. They did a song called "When the Stars Go Blue," which was done by Faith Hill and Tim McGraw. It was originally done by them, I believe. And they recorded that song and they performed it on the show, and it was later put on an album. They later put on the album, and on some album, and then they broke, and then he did a song called "Loaded Gun," which he released on an album. So music was a huge part of the show, but not main focal point. Now on to Legacy, and I want to tell you like why I did this. I watch. I'm not subscribed to him, but I do watch Clever's videos. I watch some of their videos sometimes, like mostly their throwback videos and their listed videos and debatable. That's about it. And Cheat Day. That's about it. But like I know that a lot of the people on Clever love One Tree Hill, and I thought maybe they did a throwback to One Tree Hill. Nope, but I did find a couple of people talking about One Tree Hill, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. It was because of them I decided to talk about it. And one of the people that I saw a video for, she said that she loved One Tree Hill, and she said that a lot of fans, many One Tree Hill fans, now watch Pretty Little Liars because it's similar to One Tree Hill. I don't know how similar it is because I don't watch Pretty Little Liars. I don't have cable, so I don't watch it. But I just heard from her that that a lot of One Tree Hill fans went over to Pretty Little Liars and watched that. So Pretty Little Liars is like a lot of I'm assuming a lot of things in Pretty Little Liars are similar to things in One Tree Hill. But if I had to pick one show that was just like One Tree Hill, that was basically like One Tree Hill, it'd have to be Glee. Glee has taken some of the themes from One Tree Hill, like school shootings, teen pregnancy, bullying, car crashes, and sex, and put them on the show. They took a lot of those themes that One Tree Hill covered, and they did on Glee. And they did it through music. They did it through music. And like if I did do like a compare and contrast between One Tree Hill and Glee, I'd say things that they have in common is a lot of the themes. They have a lot of themes in common, like the ones I just mentioned. And then, but the thing that makes them different is on Glee, the main focal point of the show is music. That was their focal point. That's not the focal point on One Tree Hill. Yeah, there's a lot of music on there, but it's not the thing that the show's not all about music. It's all about basketball. It's all about sports. And the other thing that's different about the show is that Glee is a lot less darker than One Tree Hill. One Tree Hill is a dark show. It's a dark show. And I'm going to talk about I have to talk about this after I finish this. I'm going to talk about why you should watch the show. So stay tuned for that. Another show that One Tree Hill is like is probably up there with Glee being a lot like One Tree Hill, and that's Gossip Girl. And this girl that I saw a video on that was talking about One Tree Hill, she mentioned Gossip Girl, and I'm quoting her. These are her words. Gossip Girl is a washed-up One Tree Hill with rich teens doing whatever they want. I didn't watch Gossip Girl because that's what I thought it was. I thought Gossip Girl was a washed-up One Tree Hill with rich teens doing whatever they want. And I never got into it. I could never get into it. I never saw like why people got into it, and I was always like, why are there people into Gossip Girl but not One Tree Hill? Like I can't believe those people like Gossip Girl, but they don't like One Tree Hill. What Gossip Girl is just like One Tree Hill, only with rich teenagers doing whatever they want. And that's why I never really watched it. I could never get into it. And like what Gossip Girl fizzled very quickly. Fizzled very quickly. I always like here recently I was always like, what happened to Gossip Girl? Like why is it not on TV anymore? Like it went off the air before One Tree Hill did. So you know that it fizzled very quickly. Yeah. So here's why I think you should watch One Tree Hill. You should watch One Tree Hill because if you're a fan of romance, comedy, if you're a fan of drama, if you're a fan of teen drama, operas, if you're a fan of sports, if you're a fan of music, and you're like a fan of like those unknown artists, like undiscovered artists, like the underground like type music, like independent artists, stuff like that. If you're a fan of thrillers, like very like thriller, like keep you on like thriller type of shows, suspense type of shows, and last but not least, horror. If you're a fan of horror, you should watch One Tree Hill. One Tree Hill has all of that. And I like it because of the horror factor. There are some things in that show, like it's not scary. There's nothing scary about it, but it does have like that horror feel to it. So yeah. And I'm just so passionate about the show. I love the show. I love the writing. The writing is probably the best written show on television show in history. Like the writing is just so great and just beautifully written. The storylines were amazing, and you got so invested into the characters that you're like you wondered like what you always got mad when the end of the episode. I know I did. I'd go like this with my leg. I'd hit my leg like this. I'm being completely honest with you. I'd hit my leg like that all the time when watching an episode and the episode was over. I'd be like, no, I want to see what happens next. What happens next? Like you can't leave me hanging like that, Mark Schwann. And so I loved the show so much. I was so invested into the show. And it was actually the first show that I owned the complete series of. So I owned the complete series of. Then I got Glee. Then I got Under the Dome. Then I got Roseanne and Cat Dog. So yeah, the very first show I ever owned the complete series to, and I've been a fan of the show for quite some time now. And if you get invested into the show, I will say this: if you're watching this for the first time, if you decide to watch this and you go and watch it for the first time, seasons are a little bland. Like they're not that great, but once you get to season 3, it's like a huge transformation happened. It's like I can't explain it, but like the tides change and it becomes more interesting and like you get more invested into the show. And I just love the show so much. So that's all I have to say about One Tree Hill. And going back to what I said at the beginning of the stream, this stream is pretty much over. But when the stream ends, go to my channel and hit the discussion. Hit discussion, and you'll see a list of schedule of what I'm going to be doing each week on both Monday and Friday, and also just look out for that, and so go and do that, and so this way you know what I'm going to be doing each week. So make sure you do that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can know when I'm going to be doing more streams or uploading. Because next week I'm not going to be doing a stream on Monday. I'm going to be doing a upload. I'm going to be uploading. I'm going to probably either film tomorrow or Wednesday. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to film because I would do a stream on Monday, but my mom is going to be be home because my mom works for the schools, and so they're out for Labor Day. So I'm going to be, uh, she's going to be home and out, like uploading videos or like filming videos or doing streams when she's at home because she thinks I'm talking to myself. So look out for that. And so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Bye.